drive down costs. All right, I'll entertain a motion in regarding resolution 2023-20, the budget approval.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve resolution 2023-20, budget approval as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Lovett and a second by Commissioner Fletcher to approve resolution 2023-20, the approval of the county budget. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. The next item on our agenda for tonight is the request for the forensic audit by the Solid Waste Authority. This was a request to be added to the workshop and agenda for December.
Mr. Chairman, I have a motion and some discussion after. I make a motion that we deny the request for the forensic audit for the Solid Waste Authority.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Fletcher. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Fletcher and a second by Commissioner Thrash to deny the request for the forensic audit by the Solid Waste Authority. For the Solid Waste Authority. Any discussion?
Discussion. Based on our legal counsel, we do not have the authority to demand this. I'm all for integrity. I'm all for open records and what have you. But based on the legal counsel that we were given as a board, we do not have the authority.
Mr. Chairman, so I think there's some ambiguity in the law. Generally speaking, an authority does not directly answer, and you cannot make a board answer to, you cannot make an authority answer to this board. That's the reason that you separate that. But the distinction here is that we are not asking the Solid Waste Authority to forensically audit itself. So we're not asking the authority to perform its own audit. We're not demanding the authority perform its own audit. We, in September, talked about asking for an audit that would pierce the corporate veil. And there are only a handful of agencies capable of doing that, none of which are the Solid Waste Authority. So, you know, the request should have been that the Lamar County Board of Commissioners asked the Sheriff's Office, the Tyler Union District Attorney, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, or the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Therefore, you don't have to ask the Solid Waste Authority to audit themselves. You know what the result of that audit would be. It'd be fruitless, and it would probably violate the authority to force them to do that audit. So, you know, if you'd like to vote on that, I'll put a separate motion that we actually ask for one of these other agencies with the ability to pierce the corporate veil, and then we'll vote on that. So we can vote on your motion if you'd like, and then we'll vote on the next one.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'm gonna put a motion on the floor that we table this forensic audit, and I'm going to ask that we ask the county attorney to give us a written legal opinion citing the legal authority that we have to order this audit in any form, shape, or fashion.
I will withdraw my motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Chairman, a motion to table has no discussion. It's on the floor for you to rule.
So we have a table, a motion to table, and a second by Commissioner Fletcher. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
And I will vote for this motion to table, to get a clarification from the attorney.
Mr. Chairman, this brings me to something else. Up until last month, when private counsel was hired,
I'm sorry, that motion is already tabled.
this is a separate.
Okay, go ahead.
Up until last month, when private counsel was hired by the Lamar County Regional Solid Waste Authority, the Lamar County Attorney has represented both the Lamar County Board of Commissioners and the Lamar County Regional Solid Waste Authority. Therefore, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the Lamar County Attorney immediately be tasked with formulating a short list of qualified legal firms for consideration by the Lamar County Board of Commissioners to serve as a conflict counsel.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Gillis and a second by Commissioner Lovett, to seek and get the board approval of conflict attorneys. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No, motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, while we're on legal, today we received what is my fifth attorney letter about the Solid Waste Authority. Anytime that I have asked for an update or a visit or any sort of information whatsoever, I don't get a response back. In the affirmative, what I get back is a legal letter that I find rather threatening in nature. Today, or the letter that we received from the attorney, specifically stated that all of these contracts benefit Amway's. And with Amway's benefit, you're prohibited from voting on that because in your financial disclosure, you are 5 times over the limit of what you're allowed to by county ethics law. And so the vote that you just took should not have been allowed. So my motion is, I would like our council to formulate, give us an opinion on whether the vote that you just took is legal. I put forth the motion.
Shouldn't that be the new conflict counsel that we're gonna hire?
We shall let our conflict counsel, I put forth the motion that our conflict counsel
Okay.
determine whether the vote that you just took is allowed under the county rule of ethics.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to allow the conflict attorney to review to see if there was a violation of ethics in my vote. Based on the recommendation of our current counsel, there is no conflict. So, do we have any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I feel like that motion's out of order because we voted to have him look into the conflict counsel, and I think we can discuss all those at one time, all the conflicts, or if there are any that may be standing.
I thought that's what that motion was for.
That's what the motion for conflict counsel, that was my point.
Alright, so the motion is to, have the conflict attorney, rather than our current attorney, to review whether or not there's an ethical reason that, based on the county code, not the state code, the federal code, but on the county code, whether or not I am, within my right to, vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
There's a tie, I will break a tie, and I will vote for the motion to have the conflict attorney approve that. Motion carries. All right, the next item.
Mr. Chairman, I have another issue.
Now, is this still a solid waste
Yeah,
authority item?
there's a solid waste authority item, yes, sir.
Because this is not on the agenda, you didn't amend the agenda to
I am on the forensic audit.
Okay, it's
We
still
are
under forensic audit.
We are still under forensic audit. I have already agreed that this board does not, or may not, have the authority to force the solid waste authority to perform an internal audit. That is not what I was going to motion here tonight. And so I make the motion that the Lamar County Board of Commissioners request the Office of the Lamar County Sheriff, Office of the Tile District Attorney, Georgia Bureau of Investigation, or the Federal Bureau of Investigation, agencies possessing the legal authority to pierce the corporate veil, perform a forensic financial audit of the Lamar County Regional Solid Waste Authority to begin within the first quarter of 2024.
Second.
You have a motion on the floor from Commissioner Lovett and a second from Commissioner Gillis to request, the GBI, the FBI, Colorado court system.
Yep.
The other entity included?
The Lamar County Sheriff's
Or
Office
the Lamar County Sheriff's Office. to,
and the board.
Complete a forensic audit of the Solid Waste Authority. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, my motion to table included those items. There's no discussion in the motion to table. We voted to motion the table. This is a motion that's out of order.
Your discussion was on whether we had the ability to force the Solid Waste Authority to perform an audit on themselves. And I have already said that you probably have legal standing for that. But what you don't have legal standing for is to tell this board that you cannot ask a law enforcement agency to look into what is now going on a 10-year issue. So that is the motion before us, none of which has to do with the authority's ability to decide whether or not to audit themselves.
Mr. Chairman, the motion is out of order, and we voted to have a legal opinion on the forensic audit by any entity. The motion is out of order.
I disagree, Mr. Chairman. I've put forth the motion. I think it should be voted on.
Any more discussion? All right, we bring the motion to a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
under Robert's Rule of Orders, it's up to you to rule whether or not the motion's out of order. It does not go to a vote.
I feel like the motion is in order. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So we have 2 for and 2 against. I vote against it.
Mr. Chairman, on the same topic, I have one more item.
Motion denied. Yes, sir.
I make a motion that the Lamar County Board of Commissioners compel the Lamar County Regional Solid Waste Authority to avail, upon reasonable notice, multiple non-affiliated third parties to review, evaluate the waste energy project, the viability of project completion, estimated financial resources needed to accomplish its completion, status of all equipment owned, leased, or operated by the Lamar County Regional Solid Waste Authority, including but not limited to the waste energy buildings, property, landfill, and on-street assets, with all reports completed by the end of first quarter of 2024.
I second that.
Yes, sir.
We have a motion to compel the Lamar County Regional Solid Waste Authority to avail upon reasonable notice multiple non-affiliated third parties to review and evaluate the waste energy project, the viability, the project completion, the estimated financial resources needed for its completion, and the status of all equipment owned, leased, and operated by the Lamar County Regional Solid Waste Authority, including but not limited to the waste energy buildings, property, landfill, and street assets, with all reports completed by the end of the first quarter 2024. We have a motion on the floor and a second. Discussion?
Just so, I'm clear on this is gonna be an engineering audit for the whole project.
We're not gonna use audit. I think
Engineering.
the objective here is, you know, like I've already previously stated, I've asked multiple times throughout the year to go see this. The last request that we made, I actually made it on behalf of this commission to go see and include, if possible, public access, so that we could actually see where we were. Not only did I get an absolutely no from the solid waste attorney, but I actually got more that said, we're gonna look into your finances since you've asked about this, which is fine. They're free to look in any way they want. But we have got to find out where we are so that we know where we have to go. If this is a viable project, there are 11 other companies currently doing this in the United States. Certainly some of those 11 will come in and give you an opinion about where you're at. They already know how to do this, they're already doing it. So I think that it is owed, you know, in addition to the audit, probably the most important thing we need to do is find out where we're at and how we go forward. You good with that?
Discussion. It's hard to vote when you don't have all the information. Some of this stuff is just sprung on us, just at a moment's notice. So, just for the record, it's hard to vote when.
So I answer, sir?
Are you asking
So-
to table this, or are you asking to?
I would like to table it because some of this encompasses some legal advice.
May I ask? May I ask?
And I'll second that.
So for a year,
Okay,
for
so-
a year, I've been trying to get you that information. And every time I try to get you that information, I am stalled by the legal department, which the irony cannot be lost. The Solid Waste Authority that is using these people's money, using your citizens' money, is writing and threatening letters to me to tell them to quit asking questions on their behalf.
All right, Mr. Levin,
And so-
there's actually, you made a motion to table.
This is
And there's a
discussion.
second, no, he's already tabled, so he asked for a table, so it's not discussion anymore. And you second the
Yes,
motion,
sir.
so we have a motion by Commissioner Fletcher and a second by Commissioner Thrash to table this discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay. So I will break the tie and I will vote that we will table this issue.
Mr. Chairman, just for the record, I want to again, state that I do not believe any of the votes that you've taken on the Solid Waste Authority.
That is totally fine, we've already said that.
I
we're
want
gonna
it on
take
the
it up
record.
with It's on the record 10 minutes ago, we said we're gonna use a conflict attorney. We don't need the grandstanding, we don't need any additions. This is, you requested the grant, you requested the, conflict attorney, so we will allow the conflict attorney to make that
And
determination.
since we've tabled that, when will these items be on? On January?
Whenever we have a conflict attorney, we have to identify the conflict attorney.
Okay. I make a motion that we put this on January.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Lovett and a second by Commissioner Gillis to put this on our agenda for January.
Would you?
Discussion.
Yeah.
Discussion.
Would you, agree that we will table this until we get the legal opinion? We don't know how long it's gonna take to get a conflict attorney. I'm sure that a lot of attorneys, especially this time of year, aren't gonna be available to just jump into this. Will you agree, if it comes in January, we'll put it on the agenda for January. If it comes in February, we'll put it on the agenda for February.
No, ma'am. So,
No.
and we were promised by the Solid Waste Authority 1 year ago, almost today, that this project would be completed and up and running by February. There was another July 1st that they failed to meet their own internal deadline. They failed to meet a December JIFA deadline. Certainly in 30 days.
The vote has, the discussion was to apply it onto the.
January.
January. And we have a second by Commissioner Gillis. Would you second that motion? All right, any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I make a motion that we table this issue until we get a legal opinion from our conflict attorney.
All right, we have a motion to table.
Second.
Discussion on the table.
There's no discussion on the table. There's no discussion on the table. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Okay, so I'll vote that we put this on the January, agenda. I'll vote to support that agenda, that motion. Being that we are seeking conflict attorney. And the reason being is this, is that as you guys know, we were a few years back involved in a very disputed, vote. And at any time that that's the case, to protect our citizens and potential lawsuits, we need to make sure that we, adhere to, sound, and we always have legal advice. And so in this particular case, if we're gonna use a conflict attorney, it will allow the conflict attorney to take a look at these things